everybody. Today I am upgrading my iMac, but first, coffee. Before we begin, I'd like to thank this video's sponsor, Ben Hernsberger, for buying me this awesome hat. I'm only kidding. No one would ever pay me to make a video like this. But maybe one day. This is my 21.5-inch 2013 iMac. Its performance has never really been an issue, but its slow and potentially unstable hard drive has been on my mind for a couple years now. And now that I'm making YouTube videos, I feel like it's a necessary upgrade. I'm maxing out the memory at 16 gigabytes, which cost me $83, and upgrading the hard drive to a 1 terabyte SSD, which costs $240 in a kit that includes everything I need to complete the installation. Although I'll be going through my steps for this upgrade, I highly recommend you go to the website I purchased the hardware from, OWC, and I'll include that in the description below. The purpose of this video is really actually just to provide inspiration that you can do this. I've never opened a Mac in my life. I think the last time I opened a computer was back in college when I had a PC and it was a tower, super easy. When I first looked at the videos on the OWC website, I thought, yeah, I'm not doing that. I was sure I would break something and it seemed confusing and intimidating. But like most things in life, you know, things are always going to be intimidating the first time you either do them or witness them, but you can do it. I probably watched those videos about a dozen times, and every single time I watched them, it seemed easier. So I would recommend the same. If you're watching this video and considering doing it, watch the videos on the OWC website like 10, 12 times. I guarantee every time you watch it, it'll seem a little bit easier and you'll develop that confidence that you need to tackle this relatively easy project. The very first thing you should do is back up all of the data on your hard drive. That's obviously the most important thing on your computer. It's priceless, your photos, your videos, especially documentation, back all of that up. And if you have the means, back it up in 2 locations. I've got a couple of hard drives. I backed it all up twice, just in case. I also recommend not wiping your hard drive before removing it, because in case you need to reinstall it, it'll be good to go and there won't be any issues. After you've backed up all your data, you can power down your computer. See you, Joe. You also need to unplug your computer. Apple recommends having it unplugged for 25 minutes just so all of the capacitors inside the computer have time to fully discharge. Just to play it safe, I'm gonna leave it unplugged for an hour. You're gonna wanna open and clean workspace to do this project. So next thing to do is dust everything off. Wipe down your Mac, wipe down the table, clear all the junk off of it, and things will go a lot smoother. All right, after you've done a really good job of cleaning and clearing your workspace, I'd set out all your tools and also set up another computer or your phone so you can follow along. ready? Go ahead and press it. Alright guys, I have 6 takeaways for you. Number 1, if you've got crazy kids like I do not let them plug the computer back in. I was looking at the screen for about 3 minutes before I realized the plug was hanging halfway out of the socket. They thought it was hilarious. Number 2, log out of all of your accounts, especially your Apple ID, before starting this project. You know, your Dropbox, Google Drive, whatever you have that you're logged into on the computer, log out, Apple ID especially. For some reason, when I was trying to download the latest OS, it wouldn't let me because it was sending the 2-factor authentication code to what I think maybe what it thought was my old Mac. I'm not really sure. It says it was sending the code somewhere, and I went on even the Apple website trying to see where it was sending it to. It just wasn't popping up anywhere, and it would not send the code to my phone. In order to fix it, I had to reinstall my old hard drive and log out of my Apple ID, then install the SSD again and boot it back up, and that got it going. It was definitely a pain in the butt. It's a good thing I used painter's tape to secure the screen to the chassis, because if I had just put it in place with the adhesive I installed, I would have had to cut it open and start all over again. Number 3, even if you're not upgrading any of the components in your computer, it is an excellent idea to open it up just to clean it out. Did you guys see my fan? It was about halfway blocked with dust. That's a computer killer. All the components inside there will overheat and eventually fail. So I was really glad that I had it open and was able to clean all that dust out. Number 4, there are 2 adhesive strips on the back of the screen. This one is my fault because they said that on the instructional videos on the OWC website. However, I did not catch it, and I peeled off a little corner of one of the adhesive strips that I shouldn't have. It isn't a big deal because I didn't pull up that much and I just pressed it back down. But be aware of that. When you're removing the adhesive on the back of the screen, there are 2 strips. If you look closely, you'll notice which one that you need to pull off and which one you shouldn't. Number 5, there is a battery on the motherboard. I kind of knew there was a battery in there. I just wasn't thinking too much about it. I was excited to get my SSD and memory in there. And even when I had it apart and I saw it there, I should have stopped what I was doing and replaced it. I'm not even quite sure what it does. I looked into it a little bit, and I know some of you might be laughing at me if you know. Double EEPROM, PRAM, CMOS, I'm not sure what it does. It's part of something in there. And from what I could tell on some of the research I did, when it dies, it causes problems. And now that the computer is 7 years old, I mean, I'm not sure how long they last, but they obviously can't last forever. And at some point might have to open up the computer again and replace that battery when I should have just done it at the time. If you do replace it when opening up the computer, make sure you replace it with exactly what's in there. And assuming that it hasn't been opened up before, it should be a BR2032. At least that was what was in my computer. And don't try to change that, you know. I think there's other batteries that are like CM2032 or anything like that. From what I've read, it's not a good idea to put that in lieu of the BR2032. Stick with what's in there. Whatever Apple put in there, that's what you want to replace it with. Number 6, have fun with it. This was a cool project. It was a little nerve-wracking, you know, at some points, but you know, it doesn't have to be. Just grab a coffee or a beer, make sure you've got a quiet area, and take your time and have fun. It's my computer is way faster than what it was, and I'm really happy with the results. So for not much money, you can refresh your entire computer. All right, everybody, take care.
When is it going to?
I don't know, guys. You gotta be patient. It might take a while. You crazy kid. Not cool. You scared me. Glad someone thinks it's funny.